Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about a software design principle, and specifically I want to talk to you about the difference between horizontal and vertical scaling. This is a very common topic, especially those of you that are taking system design interviews at tech companies. It's also something very useful to know overall if you're working in the cloud computing space. So to give you an idea of this video, what I want to do first is just to go through a very quick example about the difference between the two. And then finally, I'm going to give you a summary slide that has the key takeaways of horizontal versus vertical scaling. So let's get right into it. And first, I want to talk about just a very practical example so we can get the concepts down. So in this example, say for instance, we have a machine here that's running some web application for your company, okay? And it's using just your standard request reply model, and you make a request and it serves some content back. Maybe it's REST APIs or it's serving your website content, whatever it is. So in the beginning, this works fairly well, but say for instance, you get more customers and the number of customers that are accessing your application concurrently starts to grow very rapidly, and you find that your latency for your API calls are starting to degrade from going from maybe 500 milliseconds, they're taking 2 or 3 seconds, right? So how do we fix this problem? We can fix this problem by modifying some of what I call the scalable dimensions. And there's a couple different scalable dimensions that I want to just quickly go through. The first one is concurrent connections. So if we don't have a bound on CPU or memory or anything like that, we can just increase the concurrent connections so that we can handle more traffic at a given point in time. Eventually, what you'll figure out is that you'll hit some very real physical maximum where if you increase that amount of concurrent connections too high, your hardware maximum will be reached. So your CPU maximum will be reached. So if that's the case, your CPU utilization is running really high. How do you fix that? Well, you can just throw in a better CPU, right? You can upgrade to maybe an i5 or an i7 or whatever they're using these days for server hardware, and you can alleviate the pressure on your machine that way. So now you're able to handle all this additional traffic, right? The other dimension is memory. If you have a very memory intensive application, you can increase both the quantity, so add an additional stick, or maybe increase the frequency or the speed of your memory so that it can be quicker. And finally, maybe you want to modify the network interface, adding a better Ethernet card or whatever, just to make sure that it can handle more traffic and give a quicker response back to your client. So these three here, the CPU, the memory, and the network interface stuff, these are all physical modifications that we can make to our hardware to increase its capacity so that it can serve more traffic. So I'd encourage you to think about what are the problems with this, right? So if we just upgrade this one machine as high as we can get it, what are the problems with this? Well, the very obvious one that immediately pops into my head is that if this machine ever goes down, it's a single machine hosting all this traffic, it's a single point of failure. So now your entire application is down and no one can use it. So obviously this is a very big problem from an availability perspective. It's also a very big problem from a cost perspective. There's a theoretical maximum in terms of how much hardware you could put into a machine. And typically you get less bang for your buck as you climb up the ladder of hardware upgrades. So as an example, in the memory space, I went on Amazon or whatever and I found that for one stick of 16 gigabyte RAM, it costs me 110 Canadian dollars. And if I want to upgrade that, say I need 32 gigabytes, I can either buy a second stick, which would be great. But if I only have one slot or one port in my machine, I would need to get a 32 gigabyte stick. And this is the cost of the 32 gigabyte stick. It's $240. So the capacity is double, 16 to 32 is double, but the price is not double. It's 110 to 240. If it was double the price, it would be 110 to 220. So what you end up seeing is that as you climb up this ladder of adding more hardware that's more powerful, the price per unit gets much higher relative to the efficiency that you get of adding that additional hardware. So very quickly you'll find that just adding better hardware to a machine isn't practical anymore. It gets too expensive. So this is one of the limitations of scaling on your memory or your CPU or any of these kind of physical limits that we've defined. So in essence, what I've just described to you is vertical scaling. Vertical scaling is the act of making this one machine into a bigger machine, in a sense, to make it more powerful so that it can handle more traffic at a given point. So this is vertical scaling. So let's move on to what horizontal scaling is. And it's a very basic concept. Instead of adding that one machine and upgrading that one machine as high as you can get it, you instead add multiple machines of the same type. So let's just erase all this stuff. So typically what you would do if you're adding multiple nodes in a horizontally scaled environment is you would put like some kind of load balancer here. And when requests come in, instead of just going directly to the machine, they'll be routed to one of these mirrors, essentially, or clones, so that each of these machines can serve this traffic back. And these machines are all clones of one another. They're all hosting the same application and doing the same thing, except that now if we get more demand in this direction on our application, we can just add more machines, and the cost per unit is relatively low because these can be very basic machines. They don't need high memory or high CPU or whatever. They can be just run-of-the-mill machines that you can buy out of your provider. So this is the advantage of horizontal scaling. It eventually gets much cheaper to add more hardware than it does to build that hardware up, which is vertical scaling. So that's the main difference between vertical and horizontal scaling. Let's go into it a little bit more and just talk about some neat graphs that I prepared here. So yeah, in graph form. So vertical scaling. So this is a graph that I found out on the internet somewhere, and I think it paints this picture perfectly. So on the x-axis here, we have extra capacity needed. So get my pen back here. So if you need more capacity, you're moving in this direction. And on the y-axis here is basically the efficiency metric in terms of cost. So the efficiency of your dollar per capacity unit. So if you need more efficiency, you're going up in this direction. And what we can see here in the beginning is that you get a fairly linear growth. So as you need more capacity, you're moving up in this direction. You see the slope is fairly linear. And this is great up until this red line here, which is basically the inflection point. And at this point here, we can see we start getting something close to exponential growth. So once you reach this point where you need extra capacity, but you're already at a certain scale, your cost will increase dramatically, and you'll get less bang for your buck if you just simply try to upgrade this machine as opposed to adding more machines to your environment. So how does this compare to horizontal scaling? So for horizontal scaling, it's kind of a different story. So same graph, capacity and price per capacity unit. And we see here there's a slightly different cost in the beginning. The slope here, if you can tell, is a little bit higher here in the beginning, whereas it's flatter here for vertically scaling. And what this is kind of denoting is that in the beginning with horizontal scaling, it's a little bit more expensive because you need to set up all the different machines. But you see as time goes on, horizontal scaling, as it said here, horizontal scalability becomes much more efficient after a certain point. So after about, I would say, like this point here, you start getting linear growth between your capacity that's needed and the bang for your buck that you get by purchasing additional hardware. So this is the real strength of horizontal scaling. You can grow pretty much to any demand that you need to facilitate requests on your application and not have exponential growth on the cost side. So really this is the key difference between the two. So moving on now to another kind of quick example where someone ran an actual experiment of this. So in this experiment, we have a number of CPUs here on the x-axis, so from 0 to 18, I'm assuming these are virtual CPUs. And then in their example, it was logins per second. So we can see at one virtual CPU, they hit about 50, and two, it was about 90. So obviously 50 isn't double of 90, although they doubled the CPU. But we can see by looking, as they added more and more CPUs here from 4 to 6 to 8, the efficiency of logins per second kind of flatlined. And this example kind of speaks to the graph that I was showing you before. You end up getting less bang for your buck. The fact that this line is flat now means that you have less bang for your buck because you're doubling the capacity from 16 cores to 8. And look at the performance increase you're getting. Only 140 to maybe 150, probably even less, right? Like 145 maybe. Whereas when you doubled from 2 to 4, you went from 90 to 130. That's a much bigger change from just upgrading from 2 to 4 than from 8 to 16. So I really think that this example speaks volumes when demonstrating the results that you can get by using a horizontally scaled environment as opposed to a vertical one. So moving on now to the key takeaways of what we discussed. You scale horizontally by adding more nodes and a load balancer typically to your cluster. You scale vertically by adding more powerful hardware to your machine. And third, when you scale horizontally, there's more of a startup cost, but you get better efficiency and it's safer because you don't have a single point of failure anymore. It's distributed over multiple machines. And for vertical, it has a lower cost efficiency and it has a theoretical maximum because there's only a fixed number of slots that you can have in a machine. So if you found this video useful, be sure to check out my channel. It's got many more on design principles and AWS technology. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on next week's video. Thanks so much, folks, and I'll see you next time.